Hey everyone, this is Emanuel here. So excited to continue to engage in this journey of the body code. And I'm looking forward to, by the way, my pen dropped when I did that. So good times. But I want to let you guys know that this has been really exciting. I haven't read, it's kind of like a deja vu of a lot of things, but it's just kind of exciting to kind of nitpick on little sentences. You never know what one or two sentences might do to change your philosophy, to change your perspective whenever you read something. And so the first thing that I want to share is we are back on page 50, I believe. And let's look at the top of the page. It says, it talks about kind of like when you start making different decisions or when you start removing certain things, like new possibilities open up, okay? And it says here, this means that all potential waves of potential choices disappear or collapse into one reality, your choice to check text messages. In this way, the human consciousness can consider all possibilities until one makes a choice. The good news is that each moment in our life comes with another set of waves to choose from. So one can choose to roll over to sleep a bit more or get up, once again, creating a new reality in that moment. So we're constantly creating these new realities. And if we could just be less reactive to certain things, then the realities look even better. So this is interesting. It says, thus we are moving from one collapsed energy wave of possibilities into a single reality to another until the end of our lives. And it says, these choices become our reality and together make up the whole of a lifetime. And I always tell people this, if you look at your situation right now, let's say you're a client and you're looking at your current situation, just know this isn't who you are. This really isn't who you are. Look around you, look at your relationship, look at your finances, look at everything. A lot of these were made with decisions 5 years ago that you made with past reactive emotions that now you're clearing up now to remove your emotional baggage so you can make better decisions. So in the future, your 5 years will look different from the last 5 years. And this should be very comforting to you. At least it was to me when I heard this, is that your next 5 years don't have to look like the last 5 years. What needs to be the X factor? It's you. It's removing the baggage so you make different decisions, which then creates different actions, which creates different lifestyle. I remember Jim Rohn called it the 5 aligned stars. There's philosophy, like what you believe in, like philosophy. Then there's your belief, your philosophy is like the core. Then there's your beliefs. Then there's actions, then there's results, and then there's lifestyle. These are the 5 stars. If you get these 5 stars aligned, and if anything's wrong in your life, you have to look at your lifestyle. You're like, I don't like my lifestyle. And you got to go back a step. You got to go, okay, so then what are my results? Oh, I'm not happy with my results. Okay, then we got to look at the action. Well, why am I not doing the action? It's because your belief. And they were like, why do I have these beliefs that are not congruent with where I want to go? It's because your philosophy. Or kind of your body needs some healing. And the philosophy can be changed. Core negative beliefs can be changed. One of the things that I do at the end of a session, I might have told you this before, but this is super key, is you want to fold all old timelines, place yourself on a new higher timeline, and then restore your light essence back to you. I learned that from a practitioner, and it serves them well. Why? Because I think of like Carlito's Way. Have you guys seen Carlito's Way? If you haven't, the long story short is somebody who goes into the mafia, but then at the end of it, after he decides to not be in the mafia and change his life, somebody comes and takes him down, guns him down. And you're like, you're so happy for him. Look, he's changing his ways. And then he gets killed. Why? He's still traveling on an old timeline. The decisions he made placed him on this old timeline. And it's like this roller coaster that's like kind of like headed towards down. So imagine like healing somebody, but they're still on the same roller coaster. That's what when you tell a client, I'm folding all old timelines, it's like crushing that old roller coaster and or not crushing, but maybe even like getting rid of those old tracks and then putting them on a new track. And this new track doesn't have the inevitable shooting of someone taking you down. It has new possibilities. So that's why I say it, fold old timelines, place yourself on a new higher timeline, and then return or restore your light essence. Because sometimes we're this amazing bright light and darkness tends to kind of get on us. So just anything that's been fragmented from us, with our light. It's kind of like, hey, bring more light to you, bring more light to you. So that's what I do at the end of our sessions. Prayer, on the third paragraph on the bottom on page 51, it says, when you ask for help, you are unable to receive it. Conversely, when we are too proud to ask for help, we are left to ourselves. Then this work just becomes one more of many alternative methods that rely on human wisdom alone. Interesting. Two things happened one time, and I may mention it here. Yeah, I'm gonna save this, but this is interesting. Prayer, in that you don't want to be left alone. You want to have always higher source assisting you. On page 53, he's still talking about prayer, and I believe it's the fourth paragraph. Because I was asking the higher power for help with my patients, I expected that he would help me, and I did receive help, although I learned that his help comes to us in ways that we may not always anticipate. I want to share a really quick story about what may not always anticipate looks like. And you may choose to believe this story, but I know what happened to me. But it was just really interesting. Two things that come to mind. One was I was working with a lady once, and I might have mentioned this story before, but it was really interesting. Like, I felt these hands kind of cupping my head. It was kind of weird, like somebody was cupping my head. And I didn't think like it was a helmet, and I didn't feel like a hat where it was like fully concentrated the material over my head. It felt like fingers separated, right? So it's a hand. And almost like two hands, you know? And I told the lady, I said, do you have a mother, or do you have someone that passed away that's a relative, you know? And she said, yeah, my mother died. And I was like, and I must have said, is this your mother here? I said, yeah. And then I was like, did she ever, and it came to me this intuition came in, and I said, did she ever give you like blessings, like on your head? And she says, yeah, all the time, all the time. I'm like, wow, this is so beautiful. Your mom is actually over here making sure I take care of you and is putting her hands on my head. I can feel it, you know? It happened twice during our sessions. And so I let her know, because some of those things you might think it's really weird, but when you're asking for help, there's more people helping than just God and Jesus Christ. There's more people here. There's been even sayings of like relatives that show up that guide, maybe one over there, two over there, maybe one over here, two over here. But somebody that was in one of Dr. Brad's big events had the gift of discernment, the discernment of spirits, to be able to see things. And she was just mind blown about, like, every time someone came up to see Dr. Brad, two people showed up behind him, one person showed up behind the client, or two people showed up behind the client and one person showed up with Brad. Just spirits just coming just to help out. Now, it doesn't mean we're being mediums or none of that weird stuff. It's just they're just family members, and they're just trying to help out and guide us, you know? And to prove this, I worked with one lady who was really not feeling well at all. I remember, don't remember her name, but I'll keep her name private, but really not feeling well at all, very depressed. And as we were asking for help, I thought I heard something in the prayer, like, well, while we were that 10 seconds of silence, you know? And she did hear something. She was like, oh, I heard something. She's like, it sounded like my uncle. I'm like, is your uncle dead? So yeah, my uncle's not here. What did he say? He said entities. And I checked on her, and guess what I found? Entities were affecting her. So the uncle, due to us asking for help, her uncle came by and said, hey, it's entities. And if we weren't both tuned in, she probably wouldn't have heard that. But we were both asking for help from above, and the uncle came to help out. And we got rid of entities, and she felt way better, you know? So it's just kind of things that you want to always pray. You never know what's going to happen. And if there's certain things that you feel, or you feel premonition, you can even ask your client, just say, hey, are you open to this thought that I had while we were doing this? And just say it, because the more you kind of trust yourself, the more powerful you're going to be. One of the biggest ways to bury your gift is to not let people in on the prompting that you receive. Now, some promptings are just for you. Like, for some of you, you'll feel like this is just for me, but sometimes you may feel prompted to talk to the person. Those are two different promptings, and you have to make sure to ask for discernment to know when you should keep it to yourself and when you should give to someone else. Okay. Page 54. Sometimes our pleas for help are answered by other people. This is in the blue line here. It says, you might be looking for an answer and have someone contact you about something seemingly unrelated, yet they ultimately help you find the answer. Have you inadvertently been the answer to someone else's prayers? If so, you know how good that can feel. So I just want to share with you, when it comes to, if you want to be sort of a vessel, there's a really great poem. I don't have it in front of me right now. I don't. But it's called Instrument of Peace. And this is by St. Francis of Assisi. It's one of my favorite things. In fact, my mother named me Francis for that reason, because she was so inspired by this amazing Franciscan who lived a very sanctified life. And to be impoverished your whole life, to choose poverty and to take the oath of poverty and to serve lepers and help people out and being a merchant's son and ostracizing himself, and to really live like sort of a nomadic life, and to live with nothing, just off the alms of people. I mean, that is as Christ-like as it gets. Now, Christ doesn't want us to all be in alms, because then otherwise we can't put tithings in the storehouse and things like that. But it's interesting how Francis made the Lord make me an instrument of your peace. That prayer is very, very powerful. And what this book is saying, that you could be an answer to someone's prayer. And in my experience, everyone has their own experience, is that it's all about going places to serve. And I feel like in our generation, in our life, we're always about looking to get, what do I get from this? I'm going to an event. What am I getting from it? I'm going to a family gathering. What can I get from this? It's like we're like in a state of getting. And the problem is that's not really where happiness comes from. Happiness comes from, what can I give? What can I give at this event? What can I give to that? What can I give to you guys to help you guys out? And for example, when I go to church, it's really interesting. This is kind of a thing I noticed. When I come with my mind where I'm just like, God, lead me to someone that needs an answer to their prayer, and I go to the church, that church experience is way different than I need help. And we all need help in some ways, but it's interesting. God makes it this way that whenever you help others, it comes back to you. Your prayer gets answered as you help him answer prayers for other people. So it's interesting, when I go to church, if someone's really hungry, and what I mean by hungry is they're hungry for thirst and righteousness, and they come even sometimes fasting to church, they get more information from me. They'll come up to me, and I just have so much more to say to them, like just something comes out. I'm like, I don't know where this information is coming from. I don't know where it's coming from, divulging of beautiful information, revelation they need to hear. Then there's someone who just came to church, is like, man, whatever, and is not really hungry. It's kind of like, I'm just here, don't really want to be here, closed-minded a little bit, blah, blah. I don't know much to say to them. They say, hey, how's it going? Great. Even if they asked a very deep gospel question, for some reason my body's not inclined to share. But when someone comes in hungry and they're like looking for answers, they gravitate towards me, or they gravitate to somebody else. And get ready, just open up your mouth, and just whatever comes out, just let it come out. And you could be an answer to someone's prayer. So the next time you go anywhere, someone invites you to a church, someone goes to a funeral, like, oh yeah, I am still mourning that person, you'd be like, hey, who's the host of this thing? What can I do to help you out? Like, this must be really heavy for you too. Watch how that funeral experience changes. Okay. Man, we're talking a lot about prayer today. Is that okay? So we're 56, we talk about on the third paragraph says, how should you ask for help? What do you say? The words aren't nearly as important as feeling in your heart when you pray. As Mahatma Gandhi said, in prayer it's better to have a heart without words than words without a heart. Man, that's some deep stuff. I have probably said a lot of prayers that I didn't put a lot of energy into it. And you only reap what you sow. So didn't sow much from that. So I need to, we all need to work on that. But I'll share one thing. I grew up in the Catholic faith. I'm not Catholic anymore, but I used to say, Our Father who art in heaven, holy is your name. Very beautiful prayer, but there's no heart behind it. It's you just say it, Now, sometimes I do say it now in current modern times, even though I'm not Catholic, because it's a very beautiful prayer. And I say it kind of like reignites me on my spiritual journey, kind of like being in line with what the Christ consciousness wanted. But what's interesting is that you can It's amazing what life will do to you so that you do more humble prayers where your heart is involved. For example, me being chased by a wolf at age 9. That was the scariest time of my life. I was praying and miracles started happening and somehow I escaped. And but I remember that prayer very clearly. God, I don't want to die today. Help me out. Please save me. And know our Father there. And some amazing things happen with that. In military school, I want to share with you guys one cool little military school thing that happened to me. It was my senior year, and I really was shocked that I didn't hit the number 1 position of the whole entire school because I worked so hard on it. I was only sleeping 3 hours, 3 hours a night. I mean, I was working really hard. And what's interesting is that I didn't reach the highest, got 3rd highest. And I just prayed. And I just remember this was like one of the more deeper prayers I've had. I said, God, I really want to be an example. So the purpose was not for my ego. I was like, no, this school has changed me so much. I want to let other people know that I can start from here and get to here. Because I was at the bottom. I had 0.2 GPA. Then I went to 3.8 GPA. And now I'm the highest military school commander. I'll inspire them. Do it for their sake. And I'll tell you how that happened. Basically, I said, if you can help me with these 3 things, number 1, I'll know that you're there. I feel like I've never questioned if you're really, really there. Yes, you helped me out with my wolf, but the wolf situation, but I wanted to know that he really cared about my personal needs. Were you really there? My happiness, does that matter to you at all? And so then I asked, I said and if you answer me these 3 things, I'll never question you ever again, that you exist. And I went on my knees and I said, my first prayer is that somehow I become the number 1 ranking officer. Number 2, we get the highest annual federal inspection of 99 or 100% or 99.9%, the highest thing ever, so that no one questions what I say, so we can really elevate this school and elevate a lot of people. No one's going to question what I say if I get that high. And the third thing is, can you grant me a girlfriend? Maybe someone that can talk to me that way, because I know I'm going to go through overwhelming times. In 3 months, literally consecutively, I got the highest ranking officer. The next one, 7 generals came from the military to basically find out how military distinguished our school is. And we broke a record of 90 years of 99.9%. And the last thing is, I had a girlfriend named Michelle, and she used to call me every morning to send me a positive poem or a positive quote. And she was there for me. So, I never questioned them ever again. So prayer is really powerful. If there's anything in this world I would give my children, just that you have a spiritual umbilical cord that connects you with the creator of this earth. Please don't forget about that cord. Okay, so now we're going to page 58. So it's right before the choose light over darkness. To be a healer, you must not entertain thoughts of doubt. You must leave your fears behind. Your heart must be filled with love and gratitude. If this seems unnatural at first, it will be easier and easier with practice. Try it. So the attunement, you can make an attunement session with here, right? How much you believe in something. I have full faith and gratitude when I work on other people using the body code. How much do you believe in that? Is it less than 90%, less than 80%, less than 70, less than 50? You muscle test it and then move it to 100%. So that way your body believes it. I do have full faith and gratitude when I work on other people using the body code. That might help you out there. Okay, and that is it, guys. So hopefully you enjoyed. This was actually all about prayer. So I'm really grateful for this because prayer does mean a lot to me and my family. We try to pray every night as a family. It's changed our life. And really take your prayer before you meet with a client very seriously. Even when I end all my sessions, I've been doing more prayer at the end, saying, hey, I pray for them, I pray for their family, make sure that they do well. And I know that helps even after all the sessions I've done. So if you gained some type of great insight here or something kind of inspired you in this one, feel free to comment below. Would love to hear maybe how much prayer has affected your life. What does it mean to you when you pray before clients? Has anything special happened when you pray for clients? Has on the client side, maybe on the client side or on the practitioner side. I'd love to hear your stories. Go ahead and comment below, and then we will go to page 60, I believe. Was that page? Yeah, 60 to 70 next time, and hopefully I'm actually going to upload it today. So stay tuned for that. Thanks guys for tuning in, and go ahead and comment below. Again, any type of cool feedback, or what did you get from this, or your own testimonials of prayer and how it's helped out with clients. And also don't forget to join haveempathyandlove.com. That's where I'll be doing group healings there every single week. We're just getting done with anxiety, depression, mental disorders. Next week we have something else very powerful, but if you join there, it's for free. Haveempathyandlove.com, and I will see you guys later. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.